A man sits in the Laurel County Jail based on what happened at this East Bernstadt school playground.
For the 5th year in a row, a local nonprofit had something pretty important stolen from them. The nice surprise they got this week coming up.
Why is the president of Samsung apologizing? We'll have that story coming up.
This is WKYT News at 5:30.
Good evening to you, and thanks for watching WKYT. Teachers at a Laurel County school were quick to respond when they say they spotted a man getting too close to children on the school playground.
Deputies say yesterday Cameron Lunsford approached a group of children on the playground outside the East Bernstadt Elementary School. They say he ran off when teachers spotted him. Phil Pendleton's tracking the investigation in our top story at 5:30.
It was recess at East Bernstadt School Thursday, and more than 70 second graders were enjoying their time on the playground when teachers noticed a man nearby that they say should not have been there.
I have interviewed several teachers and students, and to my knowledge, nothing was said to the students. The alarm was just that he was there watching the children play.
The principal here at East Bernstadt School wants to reassure parents that their children were never in any kind of imminent danger. The man was simply too far away, and once the teachers actually walked out to him, he simply turned around and walked the other way. They called police, and deputies discovered him again near the intersection of Kentucky 1376.
The man was very highly intoxicated, and we're just not sure at this point what his intentions were. We didn't get much out of him yesterday.
Police found out the man, 27-year-old Cameron Lunsford, was wanted on outstanding warrants, but when they say they tried to arrest him, he didn't cooperate.
As soon as they told him he was under arrest, that was all it took. The fight was on, and it was a brief scuffle because we had other deputies that rolled in about the time that the initial deputy got him.
Lunsford was charged with public intoxication, disorderly conduct, resisting arrest, and criminal trespassing. In Laurel County, Phil Pendleton, WKYT.
Police say they are not sure what substance Lunsford was under the influence of during the incident.
A busy Scott County road has been shut down for hours this afternoon. The sheriff's office tells us a woman is dead after a car collided with two dump trucks on US 25 near Georgetown. One of the trucks flipped over. Officials say diesel fuel leaked from one of the garbage trucks and hydraulic fluid spilled from the other truck. Several different agencies are out there right now cleaning up and still investigating that crash. We will have the very latest in a live report coming up from the scene on WKYT News at 6.
Well, tonight looks to be the beginning of the end for our week of dry weather here in the Bluegrass. Let's check in now with our chief meteorologist, Chris Bailey, who's tracking showers and storms through the weekend.
Yeah, it's not going to be constant. Like we said earlier this week, it's not a big wall of rain that's just going to work across the area. You're going to get these hot spots of thunderstorms, and we have those already kicking off the weekend across the Bluegrass region here. In about an hour, we've got to keep an eye on this stuff to our southwest and look at all this around London, Corbin, Somerset. Let's get into it. Defender Radar Network take you into southern Kentucky, south of Somerset, right around the Burnside area. We've had thunder and lightning pretty much nonstop for about the past hour or so. Corbin and south of London near the Keavy area, we are getting the hammer drop down with some showers and thunderstorms on top of us, putting down very heavy rains. A little farther to the north, some action trying to blossom here in the southern parts of Rockcastle County, south of Mount Vernon. Bluegrass region, one lone little shower right on the Fayette-Bourbon County line, though I'm watching stuff from Shelbyville down toward parts of the Bardstown area. We'll keep an eye on that for possibly impacting Lawrenceburg and Frankfort over the next hour and change, and there's a stronger thunderstorm behind that on top of Elizabethtown. All of that ahead of a slow-moving cold front that has its eyes on the Bluegrass state. We'll show you what that means for your Saturday and Sunday with that hot off the presses, hour-by-hour forecast.
Chris, thank you. A jury recommended a 60-year sentence for a man convicted of murder. Our county-by-county coverage at 5:30 begins in Anderson County. Gary Luttrell was convicted last night in the death of Stephen Briscoe. Briscoe was found shot in September of 2013. Luttrell claimed it was self-defense. Last night, the jury recommended Luttrell serve 50 years in prison for murder, with another 10 for tampering with physical evidence, theft by unlawful taking, and criminal trespassing. Luttrell will be sentenced next month. In Rowan County, a trial date has been set for a man accused in the death of a toddler. Brian Gallagher is charged with murder and criminal abuse for the 2009 death of Nathaniel Jones. Police say Jones died of injuries to his stomach that he suffered while in the home shared by his mother, Tia Jones, and Gallagher. Jones entered an Alford plea last month to a charge of criminal abuse, but Gallagher said he wanted a trial. The trial date was set at a hearing today for February 21st of next year.
Louisville's mayor and police chief held a news conference today to talk about safety in their city. Their comments following 3 deadly shootings overnight in the city. Police found 2 people murdered inside a home on Gerald Avenue. In another case, a homeowner shot and killed a man who broke into his home. Today, the chief of police announced new safety initiatives that include a community outreach division, creating a full-time SWAT team, and rehiring some recently retired officers to get more officers on the streets. He said this is just a start in addressing the increase in deadly crime.
You know, many of the root causes of violence are things that law enforcement can never address. But that doesn't mean that we don't have an obligation to take leadership in trying to address the things that we can.
Louisville has seen a 55% increase in murders this year compared to last. A federal grant helped pay for the department to add the community outreach program. Last week, 2 men stole a lawnmower from a Lexington nonprofit in broad daylight. The Bob Brown House just wanted to identify the thieves.
Well, instead, this week they received a surprise delivery from a Lexington business. New at 5:30, WKYT's Caitlin Setner tells us there was one person at the nonprofit who was extra excited for the delivery.
It was a really cool moment for one of the residents. He cuts the grass here, so when thieves stole the lawnmower from the nonprofit, they actually stole his lawnmower.
The Bob Brown House is home to low-income, physically and mentally challenged adults. Rent for the residents is based on income, and the nonprofit itself operates on a small budget. Getting hit by thieves 5 years in a row isn't part of their financial plan. Just last week, thieves struck again, stealing a lawnmower. Luckily, the Bob Brown House caught the guys on camera.
We have surveillance inside and out.
But so far, they say they haven't heard anything about them being caught. Today, though, management is just elated to have a working mower.
It was a great surprise for us. I mean, we had just been really hurt by somebody stealing from us in broad daylight and weren't expecting really the response. You know, the stories that we put on the news was to try to help us catch these guys and not really a plea for help, but people in Lexington came out and helped us.
You can see they have freshly cut grass today, and that's because as soon as the new mower was dropped off, that resident got out and got to mowing. In Lexington, Caitlin Setner, WKYT.
Wilcox Pools in Winchester also made a donation to the Bob Brown House after hearing about these thefts.
The Consumer Product Safety Commission is warning users of the Samsung Galaxy Note 7 to turn off their phones immediately. About 1 million of the smartphones in the U.S. are now under recall. Officials say the battery defect could cause the device to overheat. Now the president of Samsung is apologizing. As this demonstration shows, even a small lithium-ion battery can cause blistering flames if it malfunctions. The government's consumer watchdog calls the Samsung Galaxy Note 7 phone a serious hazard. Samsung's president apologized yesterday.
We did not meet the standard of excellence that you expect and deserve. For that, we apologize.
The FAA says the only way to fly with the phone is by turning it off, keeping it unplugged on board and out of checked baggage.
I've never seen a single product singled out like this as do not turn this phone on a plane. We strongly, suggest this, or if we're an airline, we're not going to let you use this phone on our plane.
Dan Ackerman is senior editor at CNET. He says Samsung fumbled and strung out a crucial recall.
The whole recall process really took a lot longer than anybody thought because Samsung kind of tried to do it by themselves at first.
Elliot Kay with the Consumer Product Safety Commission agrees. He said Samsung should have brought in the government right away to handle the recall.
It's not a recipe for a successful recall for a company to go out on its own.
97% of the million or so phones sold in the U.S. have the defective battery. And so far, about 130,000 have been returned for a refund or exchange for a fixed device. There are reports that the CPSC is looking into other Samsung devices that have had reports of fires.
Governor Bevin is talking about a statewide project to increase internet access throughout the Bluegrass. The story in about 6 minutes here on WKYT.
I'm Bill Bryant. Fayette Commonwealth's attorney Ray Larson talks about his more than 30 years on the job on this weekend's edition of Kentucky Newsmakers, including how drugs have caused so many other crimes. The bottom line is ahead.
After more than 30 years on the job, Ray Larson will retire at the end of the month as Fayette Commonwealth's attorney.
And Donald Trump is trying to move on from his history with conspiracies over President Obama's birth. Bill Bryant has the details in the bottom line.
Good evening. As long as many people in this region can remember, Ray Larson has been the top prosecutor in Lexington, and he is known nationally for his tough law and order stands. Larson will step down at the end of this month after more than 30 years as Fayette Commonwealth's attorney. Larson visits with me on this weekend's edition of Kentucky Newsmakers, where he looks back and looks ahead. He says drugs lead to most other crimes like break-ins.
A person can get on drugs and goes and burglarizes somebody's house just to get money to buy drugs. Well, let's go back to the rule. Just because they made the decision to use drugs does not give them to violate another person's rights and break into their house and steal things that they've worked hard to obtain. That's a trashy crime.
Larson also told me that he never wanted lawyers or engineers on juries. You can see the full interview with Larson on Kentucky Newsmakers. It airs Sunday morning at 6 on WKYT, and it repeats Sunday at 10 a.m. on the CW Lexington. Set your DVR, or you can catch it then. Donald Trump Jr. says his father recognizes that President Obama was born in the United States. Trump's son said in a statement by the campaign acknowledging Obama's U.S. birth that this should be the definitive end of questions about Trump's views. The GOP presidential nominee has been a prominent member of the birther movement for years, questioning Obama's birthplace. Democrat Hillary Clinton says such comments have undermined the country's first African-American president. Clinton is back on the campaign trail after resting up from a case of pneumonia. Dr. James Ramsey, who stepped down as president of the University of Louisville this summer, has now resigned from the U of L Foundation. Ramsey says the foundation contributed to the university's success during his tenure. Ramsey says he has decided to move on, but will assist U of L when and if he's asked. Bill Bryant, WKYT.
Kentucky's goal to build a statewide broadband network is still a go. Today, Governor Bevin and Congressman Hal Rogers met to update Kentuckians on the progress. The governor admitted that the Kentucky Wired project is slightly behind schedule, but he assured the crowd that it has the full support of his administration and it will be completed. He specifically stressed how important broadband access will be in transforming the state, with an emphasis on rural communities in eastern Kentucky.
These are the types of things that we are putting in place to ensure that Kentucky is the preeminent center of excellence for engineering, for manufacturing, for service, for logistics and distribution.
The project's being financed by state and federal grants, with the majority of funds coming from private sector partners. Kentucky right now ranks 47th in the nation for broadband speed and capacity.
Now, your hour-by-hour forecast with Chief Meteorologist Chris Bailey.
Starting to see some darkening skies now to the west and south of Lexington, and that sunshine we've got in Lexington is about to go bye-bye, and we're looking toward that western horizon with the overcast rolling on into town, being pushed by some showers and some thunderstorms off to our west and southwest, and they're going to try to hold together and get in here over the next hour and change. So you've got a few hot spots: Pikeville, London, and not too far away from Franklin County, back into parts of the Shelbyville area. Right now, got a fourth hot spot trying to gear up and head toward the Lake Cumberland area, Russell Springs, Columbia, Campbellsville, over toward Liberty. That's some stuff that's back around Horse Cave and Bowling Green that'll roll our way. Thunder and lightning already into parts of Casey County. A little bit of action here across Pulaski County. Majority of this stuff has been all around downtown Corbin right now. To the south of Burnside, by the way, that has weakened tremendously just over the past couple of minutes. Here we go, Corbin. Heavy rain to your south, heavy rain to your north. Good folks here in Keevee getting pounded as of now with torrential downpours, booming thunder as the lightning crashes in. Also a little thunderstorm there into parts of Rockcastle County. Still trying to pick up a shower on the east side of town, right on the Fayette-Bourbon County line. But look how quickly now Frankfort and points west, we're starting to see those thunderstorms that are getting close by from Shelby County and back toward the west into Nelson County and Hardin County, seeing some of that action. That storm northeast of Bardstown, by the way, in the past couple of minutes has weakened, but the storms here into Shelby County are beginning to increase. So Frankfort may be just a little distant rumble of thunder as of now. And that extends again back toward the west with that strong thunderstorm hitting the BG Interstate 65 corridor, Hardin County. Here's our front to the west, hot air out ahead of that. Don't have to tell you, today was another scorcher of a September day. What an absolutely amazing post-meteorological summer run that we are in right now. Meteorological summer ends, by the way, on August 31st. See, I know your calendar says something different. Rain chances this weekend will increase into the likely category. And if you're heading out to Commonwealth Stadium tomorrow afternoon, take a poncho. It's not going to be an all tailgate or all game rain. At some point tomorrow, you're going to have to put the poncho to good use with at least a scattered shower or thunderstorm. Outside of that, little sunshine, all of a sudden that temperature is going to jump up on you. We go through the overnight and into the day tomorrow. Thermometers with some sun will head toward the low and mid 80s and then come crashing down as showers and thunderstorms begin to develop from west to east throughout the day. Scattered stuff. Not an all-day rain. Don't want to call it a washout. Don't want to call Sunday a washout, though eastern Kentucky will have a much greater chance for some widespread rains on Sunday than what areas to the west will be seeing. And once that front gets through here, Monday looks really, really good. Upper 50s and around 80. But in our summer of discontent, we've got more summer coming our way, or should I call it fall of discontent? Huh? Summer continues to do its thing. Middle of next week, we're back into the mid-80s.
Summer just likes us so much, it wants to stick around.
It's doing some work in September. Sure
it is. Thank you, sir.
Police are working about 4 non-injury collisions right now, including one on the inner loop of the circle at Tate's Creek that has 1 lane blocked, and one at Nicholasville and Goodrich. That collision's causing problems right now for outbound Nicholasville Road traffic leaving downtown toward the circle. Drive times so far this afternoon, nothing significant popping up between Lexington and Nicholasville, still less than 15 minutes. Versailles looking good across the county line. Now back to you in the studio.
The excitement is building for Big Blue Madness, Rob.
Well, it is 4 weeks from tonight. De'Aaron Fox and Michael Mulder talk about it. They were out in the community today, and we'll also hear from Drew Barker. How's he been coming off that terrible game down at Florida? Sports is up next. The Kentucky offense was just about non-existent last weekend down at Florida, and the Cats hope to get on track tomorrow afternoon when they get back home against New Mexico State. Quarterback Drew Barker completed just 2 passes, was intercepted 3 times. Now, that's what you would call a confidence killer, but Barker said earlier this week everyone on the offense remains confident.
I mean, I think we have good confidence right now. We've had a great 2 days of practice. We know we can be explosive, so I'm not worried about that at all with anybody. I mean, this is going to be a big week. We got to go out there and get a win, and you know, if we play our game and like we know we can, and limit turnovers and you know, sustain drives and be great on 3rd down, I think we'll have a great chance of winning.
He's been good. He's been good. He's been you know, working hard and had a good week of practice, and I anticipate that he'll bounce back well.
So the Cats go for that much-needed first win of the season, 4 o'clock kickoff on the SEC Network alternate channel in Lexington. That is channel 518 on Time Warner. We are now just 4 weeks away from the official start of the basketball season. Big Blue Madness at Rupp Arena. Yesterday, the Cats hosted Photo Day, and today they were handing out backpacks at Picadome Elementary. The players say the excitement is building, and they are ready to get the season started.
We're getting close. I mean, you know, Madness is coming up, waiting on that. We're really excited for that. I'm sure Fox and the new guys are really excited to see just how crazy it gets.
Actually, I'm not gonna lie, I have no idea what the date is. Every time I see somebody tweet it, then it's like, oh, it's that many days? Like, I think it was 30 days yesterday.
Yeah, something like that.
I don't remember the dates, but when it gets here, I'm just gonna live in the moment.
On to the NFL, the Bengals remain on the road for week 2 of the early season as they face the Steelers Sunday in Pittsburgh. Cincinnati coming off a good road win to open up last Sunday against the Jets. Winning in Pittsburgh, though, will be a tall order.
I think anytime you go on the road, it's tough to win. I mean, everything's stacked up against you. I mean, especially in Pittsburgh, it's a division game. You know, the crowd gets into it. And so And at this, you have to be poised, and you have to play throughout the full game. And it's not one play doesn't determine the whole game. So you just gotta stick to the game plan, stick to what you're doing, and just keep grinding out.
And that'll be a 1 o'clock kickoff. You will see it right here Sunday on WKYT. We'll be right back.